Welcome back, Jammers. It's Jason with Adrian and Mandy. We're here today to talk about happiness and emotions.
And you need it to survive.
Death.
I see. Always with the death.
You know.
So, in Descartes' Error by Antonio Damasio, the patient, his name is Elliot, had a brain tumor removed. And the doctor saw that throughout his healing, that Elliot, it quoted, Elliot emerged as a man with a normal intellect who was unable to decide properly, especially when the decision involved personal or social matters.
Okay.
So because of this brain tumor being removed, he was void of all emotions.
Right.
He could rationalize for hours and hours on end, but could never come to a decision.
Was that the frontal lobe or something?
I think so.
I believe so. He was the front.
Well, so this goes back to narcissists. They have a different frontal lobe development than other people because they don't really feel feelings. They adapt and learn how the correct way to respond.
Yes.
Because they watch people and how they respond to a certain
mimicry.
event. Right.
Yeah, they mimic it.
Right. So
that's how I learned some of my social interactions. I mean, we all do it. It's just to what degree?
Well, you're taught to, right?
Yeah.
You're taught basically when you're a kid, oh, that's sad. We feel sad. We feel bad whenever something like that happens. It's, horrible or whatever.
They don't ask the kid, do you feel sad? They're just like, you're supposed to.
Right, and you're told, oh, doesn't that make you happy? That makes you happy, right? Because this, and so you learn by mimicking.
Yeah, I can see that.
There is a theory, it's a little bit of a spiritual thing that everyone's entire life is actually just one big play, a game, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's true. It's a game that we play.
Well,
we make choices.
That would explain why some people think that they're only person in the universe and don't care if they stand in your way for hours on end.
God.
So what is happiness to y'all? So in general, it's what? It's a fulfillment, satisfaction, feeling of joy.
Happiness is when your brain releases any of the three happiness chemicals, which is dopamine, serotonin, and I literally forgot the third one. So
you should have just said anything because you were sounding really confident. People would just believe you.
Oh, I know, and I don't want to do that though. And dinosaurs. So
there you go.
Happiness is food. I mean, if we're gonna get real.
I mean, happiness is anything, you're right, that makes you feel those feelings.
Absolutely.
I mean,
it could be anything.
But can it? Because your brain releases dopamine when you hurt yourself. So is that happiness? Scientifically and chemically, yes.
Well, right. But you also, when you sneeze, you orgasm when you sneeze. When the feeling you get when you sneeze is the same as an orgasm.
I don't believe you for 1 second.
Scientifically, yes. Very odd. Same with tickling the feet.
That's true. The nerve endings for the foot are right next to the nerve endings for the clitoris in the human brain.
Go ahead and Google that. That's what I've heard that. I don't know if it's true. But
I'm not taking fucking orders around here. This isn't a cafeteria.
You know damn well you're going to.
That's beside the point. I want to now know if I'm orgasming every time I'm sneezing.
No, I think it's like when two metaphors get mashed together. Because when you orgasm, it's the petite death. The small death, and when you sneeze, that is also a small death.
Yes.
So I think someone took these two comparisons and were like, smoosh.
I'm not gonna disagree with you. I know I've heard that. So
is that happiness? Because that involves positive emotions. You're satisfied afterward.
Orgasms aren't always positive emotions.
Oh, crygasms.
Oh, that's true.
This is real quick, real deep, real quick, because you can be assaulted. I'll use the nice word, assaulted, and still orgasm.
No, you can. It's messed up, but you can.
Yes, messed up. That's the word.
What were you thinking?
That it's messed up.
Oh shit.
I think that just the basic definition, anything that gives you those endorphin releases or brings you
Yeah.
just makes you feel good, like maybe completed. I don't know.
As long as you have more often than not positive feelings over negative feelings equal happy. Right?
Yeah.
So
I was Googling whether or not sneezing was the same as an orgasm.
Yeah.
Turns out no.
No?
So
Okay.
oh, all right. Scratch the past
Well, no,
5 minutes. We're sorry.
It makes sense, but like with the tickling, it could, like, it is the small death or whatever, and you're right, it could, but I don't know. I don't
La
remember.
Petite Mort, that's what I was remembering.
I don't
unless
remember
just
where
fucked
I
that
heard it from or where if I read it. So that goes to tell you.
I don't know, but you were confident.
It
I
sounded
was,
like
'cause I
someone
heard
else
it.
told you this.
No, I've read it. It just I can't remember where, but I read a lot of just shit. So
Your Facebook feed is full of conspiracy theorists and clickbait.
no, it is because I have a lot of conspiracy theorist friends and a lot of people who like to share clickbait shit.
God damn it.
To each their own. I can scroll past it just like anybody
Just
else.
follow more art people.
Yeah, you're the only art person I know.
I just get it on my just get it on my suggested feed. There's like
No, I do
pages you might like.
sometimes.
I'm like, yes, that
I do
one and that
sometimes,
one
but
and
I
that
like
one.
the DIYs.
DIY.
DIYs. There you go. Dyslexic here. But yeah, I like those. I follow those a lot more than I used to. So there's artsy stuff, or the.
I like to make fun of anything owned by 5 Minute Crafts. Does
No,
that
I
count?
don't follow 5-minute crafts recipes. Like, I watch the videos just to see what kind of stupid shit.
Turning
they're
my
going to
application
do.
into So Yummy. 5 Minute Crafts, if you ever get wind of this and you're listening, I will absolutely draw up some maps of your awful, awful food on So Yummy. We can do this together. I ate a chocolate aquafaba and peanut butter toasted white bread sandwich the other day, and I am not proud, but it was delicious.
Oh no! Was that awful one of those things?
No. That's why I said I'm turning in my application.
Oh, there you go. Look at you. Culinary creations.
Right there.
I'm not gonna. I can. Where is the 5 Minute Crafts headquarters? Is it in
No
LA
idea.
where weed is legal? Because it seems like it's there.
I would
Why
not.
does
It feels like that.
Why does
I
it
would
seem
not
like
doubt
that?
it.
Why does it seem like that?
Because everyone has their best ideas when they're
Oh.
hanging out with Mary Jane.
Oh, is it? Is it?
And so this is happiness. Just to bring it back around
Ow.
to topic.
That's right. It is happiness.
That was super gay. I love it.
I love it.
So,
Okay, so we know what happiness is by definition and kind of what we all think happiness is. And it's pretty much the same. It's anything that brings you joy, anything that does not make you.
What do you think
Right.
our quality of life would be if we just didn't have emotions? Would we even know something was different without them?
I
yes.
don't. I think so, because you wouldn't know if no one had if emotion has never come into play. You would just be walking around just like monotone, just like. Just deadpan, and nobody would know the difference. Like, nobody.
No,
would
yeah,
be able
you
to tell.
wouldn't have a reference to know
Right,
the
so
difference.
you
So,
wouldn't
would it
know.
be bad? Would it bring world peace, or would it make
I
people
think it
more
would be-
violent?
I
No.
think it would be dull.
No, I disagree. I think because now you're talking, when you say emotions, you're talking about all emotion,
All emotions.
which means the people that hold back and not kill all of a sudden kill.
Because they would be acting on
without
instinct.
disregard,
Yeah.
without anything.
Because to survive, most like, and you see it in fucking Mother Nature all the time. Things
Yeah.
kill each other to
Right.
live. So,
But I think you would learn to adapt like the animal kingdom has. You travel in packs. You bring in people that have the same
No,
interests.
I kind of agree, but then I kind of disagree because I feel that their pack mentality and stuff has emotion built into it as well. They
Yeah.
feel safer. They feel that having a pack, it makes them look bigger or
So-
stronger.
No, because you
Do you
kind of
think-
see it in people who are extremely rational and extremely logical, and it's
but they
okay,
get around the wrong cult and
but
then
they're
suddenly
like
gone.
right, they're easily persuaded one way or the other. But it's okay if I get in with this group and I am stronger or faster or better at anything than one of the others, and I will live longer. So I don't think any feeling comes into play,
Yeah.
except for your
Well,
own
no,
personal
and I was
survival.
watching the nerdy side of YouTube as I tend to do, and they were talking about that, and they were, we need emotions to let us know what is best for our survival. Because if you work on impulse and say your instincts are saying eat all the food, but you have 5 other people next to you, we've learned to adapt to that. Because if we eat all the food, then we're gonna get shunned from that group, and that group being gone means less protection.
Right.
Your fear goes away. People start tight walking the Grand Canyon for no reason without any safety. There's no fear anymore. There's no anger anymore.
Well, if there's no fear, no anger, no holding
Happiness.
grudges, that sort of thing, or
No.
mommy daddy issues, and
When
If
we used
for
to
the
be like an
people-
ant colony.
well, right, because for the most part, people kill
Hive
because
mind.
of how they were brought up and made to feel. Like all of the school shootings is
Maybe.
they were bullied, they felt shitty
So-
or made to feel shitty, so they went and shot people up.
So then does the question change in the sense that instead of us all of a sudden just losing emotions, do we go back to when we started, we didn't have any emotions to begin with? But then we don't even go like an ant colony because I don't think we hive mind to one person telling us ever what to do.
Yeah.
So we're
I
just
think
dull,
it goes
blank,
back to the
nothing.
Neanderthals. I do, because they were tiny tribes of Neanderthals. They only had anything to do with each other if they were fighting, or if they were doing the marriage thing, or if they were trading out food and things. And you only had the people that you only basically had your person you thought, okay, this person's going to give me strong, healthy kids to be able to keep reproducing or whatever.
Procreate the race.
Right. And so there's no love. I mean, you see it all the time in marriages where people are promised or given to each other, and there's no love, there's no animosity or anything, there's just no love, like they care less. And I think that's basically what it was back then. But then whenever you started having to interact with each other more and more, and you started developing stronger feelings, stronger emotions toward people.
So if emotions came through because of survival instincts, would it be accurate to say that we are at a point where we can more discover our feelings because we're past survival instincts, or are we on a downside to discovering our feelings because we no longer need feelings to survive?
Think a bit of both. Because I think that right now we're over feeling. I think we're just feeling to control others. I mean, you see it all the time. Politics, families, friendships, relationships. I mean, it doesn't matter. You have people that want to control and will use emotions to get someone to act the way that they want.
Sure.
So I
No, it
think
is.
that it's a bit of both. I think we're losing the whole point of emotions and why we feel the way we feel. But I also think that the vindictive people are learning to control people with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I could see that. Because back in the survival times, I think that specific emotions were very heightened compared to other ones. And now, in these quote unquote civil times, some of those emotions that were once heightened are now gone or very not used a lot. Right?
Old.
So
They spark up as different things. Like
Right.
anxiety sparks up as like compulsion and
Well, and you're also, if you feel an emotion and someone thinks you shouldn't, you're shamed for feeling that emotion.
right
So-
now you're getting into how men are men, boys will be boys, and women are women, and girls will be girls.
Right. Well, it's all intertwined, though, isn't it?
I don't. Does that deal with feelings or does that deal with a perception?
both.
Both. I mean, it's perception because people are making people to, raising people. Well, you're a boy, so you should feel this. You're a girl, you should do this. But then that kid has to grow and go through that process. So they're feeling all kinds of crazy things.
Okay, but was it perception or was it feelings back in the early days of humans that had bigger, stronger men go do hunting and killing and come back?
Well,
So-
I think they did that because of survival.
We say that a lot and we use that as an active comparison for things, and we overlook the very real fact that there were women hunters and gatherers. We just ignore them throughout history.
Yeah.
So it's not
Oh, we ignore women throughout history in every aspect. Science. There was a woman who was a scientist that had to lie and claim that she was a boy and dress like a boy to go through. And when she graduated and it was revealed that she's a woman, they did not give her her diploma.
yeah.
I mean, Madame Curie, her accomplishment. I can't even say that word.
Accomplishments.
There you go. Were put under her husband's name. Recently, I think maybe they took it out of his name. Maybe, I don't know, but I know that some of them, if not most of them, or all of them, were under his name, and that was the way it was back then. I mean, women couldn't be scientists; they weren't smart enough.
Right. No, I get that. So, and beside the women gather hunter thing, I know that. But the thought process is, was it a perception or was it emotions?
I think that the men in charge of recording history took out the women's participation in the hunting to get women to feel that they are only needed and wanted for one thing. That if they showed that women were hunters and gatherers or smart or led tribes, then they would want to go and work like men and be like men. And they wanted to keep them at home and taking care of the kids and basically a slave to their husband.
I mean, you see that all throughout history, right? Even in World War II, they were like rogue gangs of women that were very adamant about being in the war.
Right.
What was their name? Something Angels. They were beautiful.
Yeah.
They were bombers, and they were fucking amazing.
One of the Golden Girls, she was actually a Marine. And they honored her like she was actually a Marine back
So
then.
in that case, I mean, can we answer that question? Because history is going to have us see that as a perception of the time, but we can't prove if that was a perception of the time because we know what the historians were thinking about women. We don't know what normal people were thinking about women.
Right, but where in the history books have you seen where women in that era are represented the way they should be represented? It's all men did this. Even if a woman went in and saved the day, they're still not going to put that in there. They're going to go, oh, but this happened, but these big brave men did this little tiny thing.
So
And that's their focus.
the point of me asking that question, besides running off on a tangent about how history is written by men and all this other stuff,
You're welcome.
was that what is it a perception or is it an emotion? Because if they made those decisions, whether they were or not irrelevant at the moment, whether they made those decisions off of perception or emotion, because if we go to emotion is gone, do they make the same decisions just purely on perception when there's no motion involved?
I think when there's no emotion, it's survival of the fittest.
Okay. I get that.
I'm still confused at
Yeah.
what you're trying to ask.
Yeah.
If we just go with history, books, fact, if it happened that way, which we know it didn't, but beside the point, if men were sent out as hunter-gatherers, women were kept at home to do household things. If that was done off perception or emotion. So if it was done off of emotion, per se, hypothetically, and then we go back and as a human species, emotion is gone. We have no emotion.
Oh.
Does the same choices happen
I don't think so.
if it's by
No.
perception?
I don't think
No.
I think you work on logic at that point. If
Yeah.
this person that happens to have been born with a vagina ends up big and tall and strong, we're gonna send them out for the hunters. And I think you have to have emotion to gender things, if that makes sense. I think you have to because the only difference between humans is genitals, and I think we're the ones that put the heavy emphasis on that
Emotionally?
because of emotions.
Well, think about it. You go into a meeting and you're like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. This is our quota. You are taking charge. You are leading the team. If a woman goes in and says the exact same thing, what is she thought of?
And those are feelings, right?
Yes,
Those are feelings that people are
exactly.
using to do that judgment.
But if
So-
you took feelings and emotion out of it, it doesn't matter who goes into that meeting and says those things. They're not a bitch. They're not, they're just driven.
They're not
just,
a boss
it's
either.
survival.
At that point, they're
Right,
a
they're
person
just-
talking.
Right.
Right. Makes sense. Just wondering.
But like you see it in the animal kingdom as well in certain species. And to be honest, taking feelings out of it is the closest you're going to get to what you're trying to say. Is to look at the animals and see how they act and react to things because they are pure primal.
I don't think so.
No, I think they have feelings
emotion in there too.
Yeah.
So they have emotions as 3 parts. So it's how you experience it, how your body reacts to it, and how you behave in response to it. And I think those things can be translated over to animals.
Oh, for sure. I don't think it's possible to live without emotions. The more we deep dive into this, they are a thing. They just exist. Rather, we have any irrational claim over them or not. They're here.
Well, no, but that's not what I'm saying. When it comes down to it, they will choose eating over their pack if they're starving. And it's me or this other animal.
Selfishness is a feeling.
Right.
Self-preservation
But
is
survival,
a feeling. Yeah.
but your survival, and that goes back to people.
So I guess-
And if it is that, when you first brought up, taking out all feelings, even survival of the fittest goes out the window.
Exactly, because survival is
So-
a feeling.
So that goes back to
Hi, welcome. I'm glad you're all here. So
No.
finally, with that being said, finally we've made it to where I want to get to. Do we even make it this far as a species without any emotions?
I
Probably
think
not.
what we're missing here is basic. I don't think you can thrive as a species or whatever without any
Completely.
emotion.
Our frontal lobe is
I don't
completely
think
non-existent
you can.
anymore.
I don't think you can because you can't. You
Eat,
don't
sleep,
feel.
fuck, reproduce. That's
You
That's
can't
it.
feel sleepy. You can't
it.
feel the drive to reproduce, like you said. You can't feel hungry.
Well, yeah, you feel
Your
those
body
things.
will
But
feel
it's
those
still-
things. But
Yeah.
would you have
You
the
won't have
will
the emotion.
Well, right, because food wouldn't give you the same endorphins as it does now.
Right.
Would you have the will to hunt these things if not for the emotions, though? Or would you just sit there and just sort of... And then that's it. That's your
Wither
species.
away.
Because you don't have any
You're
energy, and energy is
fueled by dopamine and
Right.
endorphins.
Yeah. So.
But I think
just thoughts.
I don't think you could have a species without that, without basic basic emotions, just like basic instincts.
Now, would
I don't think
something
you have one.
void of emotion be similar to a computer? All algorithm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
because I think they do feel.
It's just different ones and
Yes.
zeros instead of squiggly lines.
Yes. I don't think they feel love the same as you or I would feel love. They may get that love from, instead of a human, something else.
They would know what love is based on the definition. They would know it like children know it, which is why how we have taught them how to know it. So
Right.
we're back at square one. So do all emotions just exist as things we perceive as emotions, but we're not really feeling anything? We're just reacting to stimuli that we know from our memory.
Well, let's see it this way. If we were feeling happy and instead of laughing, we were taught to cry, would it still be happiness?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yes. It's all about how the synapses in your brain fire off.
It would be happiness
So-
if we were taught to cry as happy, but
Right.
that's
If we-
how we would feel that.
It's the same thing.
But it
You
would
could
be
take-
happiness instead of pain.
Sure, but you can take it to colors. You can take it to anything. A fork is a spoon is a fork. Blue is red when red is blue.
But does that mean these things don't exist? No.
no,
'Cause
they
they're
still
there.
exist. It's just that as a human species, we've labeled them something different than we perceive them now. But as we perceive them now, all it is a reflection of light. There is no color.
Well, right. It's all a shade of white.
And it's all a shape of some kind that we perceive as one thing. And if we just named it something different, a square is a circle is a square.
There was a meme on my timeline today, and it was Rugrats, Angelica talking to her mom. And she was like, if we called oranges oranges, why aren't apples reds and bananas yellows? And the mom had an existential crisis. But it's also because we named the orange after the fruit, the orange, and not the color after the fruit.
Right.
True. Are we even here? Or is it just electrical signals running through our minds? What is our soul?
And a
Turn the
flesh
Matrix
suit.
off. I'm
Who
fucking
are we?
tired. I
And
want to go to bed.
Are we in the Matrix or are we children of Zion?
Whatever you're doing, end it.
It's just a game.
Do you know when you're happy?
We are in a large MMORPG.
Because I know I'm unhappy right now as he's speaking.
And each one of us are controlled by a being outside of our universe.
I'm not okay with any of this. It's all a Sims simulation.
We are Sims.
Well, there is a theory. Of
That hurts
course, I wouldn't
me.
take this. Again, I read it from somewhere or saw it somewhere.
Oh shit. Say it with confidence.
there is a theory though that we're just a hologram.
I mean, technically, we're a bunch of
No, so
stop frames,
right.
Right.
stop frame imaging.
Just viewed in our mind rather quickly. But it's it's not that we're all holograms. Or maybe that's one theory. Or maybe it's a different perceived notion off of a theory that I know of, that the reality right now and everything here as we know it that is going on currently is my own personal reality in my head, and all of you out there in the world in front of me, you two, and everyone listening and everyone in the world is a perception of my mind into the outer reaches.
And I only think that when I am hanging out with Lucy. Other than that, I wake up and there are things beyond my control, and I'm like, this is bullshit. So,
Which again, Jason it kind of backs up the whole self-entitled bitches thinking they're the only person in the planet and can do whatever they want and fuck everyone else around.
Sure. Now I take this a step forward and I say this. Since this is a perception of my reality, and when I sleep, I dream, or when I sleep, I disconnect and become reality.
I don't want to be some of my reality in my dreams.
Honestly, yeah. I've had some fucked dreams. I don't want that. But I mean, I do think when you sleep, it's you seeing it from a different lens. When you think
think
about
it's
universe
absolutely-
theory, literally everything is possible.
When you dream, it's all emotion. It's all how you're feeling. When I'm overwhelmed and feel like I'm out of control, when I'm overwhelmed emotionally, I have a lot of dreams where I'm underwater.
Ooh.
And I'm drowning, and then I take a breath, but I can breathe. But I'm just so just emotionally just drained. Or if I feel like I'm out of control about a situation, I have dreams where I'm doing something, but I can't control it. Like driving a car and I'm hitting the brakes and it won't stop. So it's all how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
When you're asleep, I think it's your body telling you, okay, this is what you need to focus on. This is what's really going on inside of your body right now, and you need to focus and you need to deal with this.
Interesting.
But that's just my thought.
Nice.
Can't lucid dream.
And to be honest, if you all were perceptions, I would not be living in this house.
Rude.
You would all have a lot of money, and I
True.
would be a princess. So
Well, I can see that. Shoot, I think the next time, or one of these times, we need to talk about universe theories.
Different
That'd be
ones.
interesting.
Different universe
I believe in
theories.
string theory, so
Right. Well, yes, so string theory.
everything is chaos.
And so the Big Bang, universal expansion, universal contraction, the theory that the universe has light, that light is being slowly eaten by the dark matter, and the dark matter will take everything back over, and everything will be dark and gone. Lots of things to talk about.
yeah.
All right, jammers. Thanks for jamming with us. We'll see you again next time. Bye.